Hi there. Today we're going to learn the basics of knitting. That'll be casting on, the knit stitch, and the purl stitch. I'd also like to invite you to join me every week at Google Hangouts. That's where I'll be giving live knitting lessons. I really hope to see you also at the knitting lessons. Look down below for the times. Note that this is a jacket that I've knitted. It's for sale on my Etsy shop. It's just a short cropped jacket made out of 100% cotton. It's machine washable, and if you're interested in this jacket or other things that I've created, please visit my Etsy shop. Please visit my Etsy shop. It's also listed down below. First, to calculate the number of stitches you need, you take the end of the yarn. Let's say you want 15 stitches or 16. Let's make it an even number. You just do this. Here's the end of the yarn, right? Take one of your needles and just wrap it 16 times around the needle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So you've wrapped it 16 times, kind of not too tight and not too loose, you know, and then take a little more, just a little more just to be safe. This way, you know, you'll have approximately enough for 16 stitches. Okay, so that point where you have this, just kind of wrap it on the needle, just like that. It's not even a knot or anything, it's just, you know, basically wrapped on the needle. Okay, so now you start casting on. Now I do it this way because it's easier for me. If you already know how to knit, you'll see this is easy. Now this is the side that's attached to the ball. If you already know how to knit, here's one way you can cast on. Just knit it. That first stitch, just knit it. Now the string you wrap around is the string that's attached to the ball. And there. Now you've knitted and you've cast it on at the same time. So if you already know how to do the knits and you just don't know how to cast on, it's very easy. Take the tail, wrap the tail around, and knit it. And you've cast it on. And another way to do it is, here I'll do one more this way. Just knit it. And you've cast it on. But another way to do it, if you want to do it just with your hand, now I know you've probably seen that complicated way where they use one hand and they do all this stuff, which I never figured it out. Just imagine this finger as if it were the knitting needle that you were just using. So grab it and just knit it, but instead of the knitting needle, you're using your hand. And then wrap this and over. See, was that even on the camera? I'm sorry, let's do it again. Like that. You're just knitting. So it's as if your finger is the other knitting needle. Just wrap and knit. See? So again, you can do it this way. All right, you're just wrapping, knit, you're knitting. This piece is wrapping around the needle. There. So, two ways to cast on. This way, which is as if you're just straight out knitting, you're casting on as you knit the first row. See? Kind of got to hold the stitch because it's loose. This one wraps around. That's the ball. All right. We'll do one more this way. Just so you see. Like this. Put it. You're knitting. This is the side attached to the ball. see? That wraps around. So that's how you cast on. Like that. Here's the side attached to the ball, right? Or if you just want to use your finger, just imagine your finger as if it were the other knitting needle, and you do the same thing. Okay, got it? Any questions? Please do them below. You're knitting, you're wrapping this one around, and you're putting it over and just pulling. This way with your finger is actually easier, I think, because you don't have to hang on to it as if the other needle, see? Okay, so you'll see we have, I'm not sure how many, let's see, we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. We have 16 stitches on now, the first row, and there's a little left, you know, but you calculated, and that's because, again, I like to wrap it around as many stitches as I need, plus then add on a little more just in case, you know, because it's a rough estimate. Okay, now we're going to knit. Okay, so here is the side that's attached to the ball. Right here, see? This is the side that's attached to the ball. All right, that's the one you use. So you knit. You take the first stitch, like that, stick it behind, take the side that's stuck to the ball, wrap it around. Let me do that again. Stick it in, wrap it around, and then just shift the stitch over, and just shift the stitch over, and the one that you wrapped around, you pull out, and then just take it off the needle, like that. All right. Use these fingers to hold the other stitches back. You don't want those to come off the needle. So again, stick it in. Now I hope you'll all join me on Google Hangouts. I would like to start doing live knitting lessons and question and answer, like for about an hour a week. If any of you are interested in joining me live on my Google Hangout. Okay. So that's a basic knit stitch, and you could just make a scarf already. Knowing this, you can already make a scarf. Now, it's not going to be a very exciting scarf, because the knit stitch is, you know, if you're just doing a straight knit scarf, it's a little bit, you know, it's just a very basic knit scarf. It looks kind of boring. It's not even the jersey stitch, which is like what a lot of sweaters are made out of. But now, you know how to knit. The only thing you need to learn now is the purl stitch. There are only two stitches in knitting, the knit stitch and the purl stitch. Any other stitch is just a variation of either taking two stitches together or dropping a stitch, or a combination of the knit and purl stitches to make a design. But once I'm not quite sure what happened on this cast on. All right, this was one that's messed up. Just ignore this one. Let me see. I cast on improperly somehow. But because I was probably trying to watch the camera as I did it. There you go. So that's it. Now we're going to learn the purl stitch in the next video. Let me just finish these 16 stitches. And the way you know if you're doing a knit or a purl is if the yarn is in the back, you're doing a knit. Let me just finish this row so you can see. Here. Here we go. So please enter your questions below. One more. Okay, and we have one last stitch. There we go. You've already got 2 rows there. Okay, all right then, so now the purl stitch. The purl, once you learn the purl stitch, you've already learned the knit stitch, you know how to cast on, you'll know how to knit anything, believe it or not. I mean, it'll take a lot of practice, obviously, but that's all you need to know in order to knit. So the purl stitch is sort of like you're doing the knit stitch backwards. The yarn goes in the front of the needle. You put the needle in the front way. I kind of hold it. I mean, I'm doing it slow, so it's okay. I guess my thumb is blocking, so it's like that, see? So you've stuck the needle in the front way, wrap the yarn this way. The yarn is in front now. And then slide it over to the next needle. Okay, so let me try to do it again without blocking. All right, so you have the yarn here in the front of the work. When you do the knit stitch, the yarn is in the back of the work. So now the yarn is in the front. So this is the yarn that's stuck to the ball. All right, so the purl stitch, let's go. Yarn's in the front, stick the needle in from the top across the front of the needle. Okay, and then I'm doing it to keep my thumb out of the way. Here's this thing, you wrap it around, and now kind of slide. That wrapped around yarn will become the stitch that onto, this is the yarn that you wrapped around. You flip it over and pull this off. Okay, so it's really 3 steps for beginners. 1, if you get really good, it's almost in 1 step, but as a beginner you'll be doing it in 3 steps. So that's the first step, 1. Second step, wrap the yarn around this needle, the right needle. And the third step, let me get it from this angle. The third step is that yarn that you wrapped around, kind of hook that yarn that you wrapped around onto the right needle through the stitch. Kind of showing you is easier than explaining, obviously, so you might want to make it a little tighter. Okay, so I'll just do it now without explaining anymore, and hopefully you can see. I'm trying to put it at an angle so that you can see it, but okay, so it's a purl, and this yarn that you wrapped around is the yarn that you're going to transfer over, pulling it through the loop, and then just transfer it over to the next, to the right needle. Okay, there. Oops. I'm trying to do it all and stay on camera at the same time. There, purl. Oops, ah! Don't worry about that. I mean, this doesn't concern me. All the stitches came off. That's what you got to be careful of. I mean, I know how to save it, but you know, you got to try to avoid that. But if the stitches fall off, just stay calm and pick up the stitches again like I just did. All right. I won't talk and I'll just do it now. Purl, the purl stitch. And again, I invite you to join me on Google Hangout. I'm going to be doing a live knitting class. I'd like you all to join me and ask questions, and right there in live time I can show you, you know, or help you, or you can turn on your webcams and show me what you're doing so that I can tell you, you know, what you need to fix, or, you know, so that'll be just sort of, I'm gonna try a class once to see if it has any interest. If you're interested, post below, and by the time I have this video up, I will have posted the time. Okay, I'm talking and I'm probably blocking while I'm doing it. So remember, this is the purl stitch. If you know the purl stitch and you know the knit stitch, you're done. You know how to knit. After that, everything is practice. So we've got 3 left. here on the needle. So, first step, second step is wrap it, and the third step is the string you wrapped, pull it through the loop. Through that loop. Now you've transferred that wrapped needle, the wrapped yarn right here, that's what you wrapped, is now on this needle. And then you just pull off the stitch that was on this needle. The stitch on this needle is now hooked around the yarn that you wrapped, and that becomes the new stitch. So 2 more purl stitches. Purl, I think the hardest part for most people is the third step, because first step is pretty easy, second step is just wrapping, and then the third step is apparently what most people, to people I've taught before, it's the most difficult for them to understand. So just remember, the stitch you have on this side, what you're doing is the yarn that you wrap, you're pulling that piece of yarn, that string, through the loop of this stitch, and that's becoming the new stitch on this needle, and then this stitch is just released. Then you tighten it up a little if you need to or if you want to. Okay, so that's the purl stitch. So with these 3 things, casting on, the knit stitch, and the purl stitch, you now know how to knit anything in your imagination, which you don't realize that now, but you will as you start to improve in knitting. You'll realize that everything is based on just these 3 things. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you at the Google Hangouts. Bye.